11:47 at night. You're in bed, phone at half brightness, and you open the banking app for no reason at all. You didn't buy anything today, not really. No big purchase, nothing you'd have to explain to anyone. The number moved anyway. 70 something dollars, gone into a day you can barely remember. And here's the strange part. If someone asked you to list what you spent it on, you couldn't. Not because you're careless, because your brain never filed it. Before you decide this is about people who are bad with money, it isn't. This runs on everyone. It ran on you today, 5 separate times, and you didn't approve a single one of them. 5 decisions. 5 moments where something else was driving. Most people go a whole life without ever seeing them. Tonight, you're going to watch all 5 happen, in your own day, in order. Let's go back to this morning. 8:40. The coffee place on the corner, the one you don't even choose anymore, you just end up there. $5.20. You tap and nothing happens. Not in the room, in you. No flinch, no hesitation, no small internal wince. Now run that same $5.20 through a different morning. Cash. You pull a 10 out of your pocket, you hand it over, you watch the change come back, and you walk out knowing exactly what's left in there. Something in your chest registers that. A small subtraction. Not painful, but present. The card gives you none of it. Same money, same $5.20. No signal at all. And this is where most people go wrong. They decide the problem is the coffee. It was never the coffee. Your brain doesn't hold one pile of money. It holds separate jars, rent, bills, the serious stuff, the small stuff. The rent jar gets audited to the dollar. The $5.20 jar isn't guarded at all. Which is why you could tell me your rent right now to the exact dollar without checking. And you could not tell me what you spent on coffee last month, not roughly. Not within $50 either way. The information was never stored. Your brain decided it wasn't worth the shelf space. So it repeats every morning, sometimes twice, every working morning of your life, and not one of them ever became a memory. Because small doesn't feel like spending. It feels like getting through the day. Home by 10. Headphones sitting on the desk where you dropped them last night. 6 weeks ago, you researched these for 4 nights straight. You watched comparisons. You read arguments in comment sections. When they arrived, you noticed them every single time you picked them up. Now you pick them up the way you pick up a fork. Nothing broke. They're exactly as good as they were on day 1. But you moved. Your brain runs a set point. Any upgrade gives you a spike, then the set point quietly climbs to meet it. What was a treat becomes the baseline, and the baseline is just where you live now. You didn't climb. You raised the height you have to pay to feel normal. Every upgrade in this room swore it would finally feel like enough. Look around. None of them were. 12:30. Supermarket. The Saturday shop. You reach past the own brand for the one with the better label. Not because you compared them, because at some point in the last year, you just started doing that. The raise came through in March. You remember exactly what you told yourself. This one's going straight into savings. Look in the trolley. That's where it went. Not one decision, 400 small ones. The better coffee, the delivery instead of the walk, the yes to dinner without checking the balance first. There's an old observation about this. What you spend rises to meet what you earn. Automatically, without a meeting. Nobody stole the raise. You handed it over, a little at a time, in trolleys exactly like this one. Stop for a second, because there's something you need before the last 2. In the early 2000s, researchers at MIT ran an auction for tickets to a sold-out game. Same seats, same night. Half the bidders could only pay cash, half could only pay by card. The card group bid dramatically more, in some conditions close to twice as much, for the identical ticket. Nobody in that room believed they'd been manipulated. They just felt differently about the money. And that's the thing you've been getting wrong all day. These aren't 5 bad habits you happen to have picked up. They're 5 outputs of one system. A brain built to survive a week running a life that's meant to last 40 years. Not a moral failure, not weak character, old software still executing. And the last 2 are the expensive ones. 8 in the evening, a bar you don't go to often. Theo's already there, because Theo is always already there. New watch. He doesn't mention it. He doesn't have to. He keeps turning his wrist when he talks, and you feel something. Small, hot, familiar. Not envy exactly, closer to an alarm. Your brain treats social standing as a survival variable. Being seen as behind fires the same circuitry as physical danger, because for most of human history, being behind is how you got left behind. So here's the honest version. You can survive being broke. What you can't survive is people knowing. You're already building the purchase on the walk home. Something that says, I'm fine, I'm not behind. But you're not buying an object. You're buying a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. And the money that could actually build him goes into pretending he's already here. Look at Theo one more time, though. Look at his face in the gap when nobody's talking to him. He's on the same treadmill. He's just further up it. And it's more expensive up there. 11:12. In bed. Scrolling. Someone roughly your age standing next to something you can't afford, explaining precisely how they got it. The trades, the coin, the program, the thing that finally worked. And you pause. Not for long, but you pause. You don't pause because you're gullible. You pause because you're tired. The slow version has been grinding on you for years, and here is someone selling a door. Your brain is wired for optimism. It overweights the good outcome and underweights the risk. That's not a defect. Despair stops people moving. Hope keeps them walking. But what you're actually buying there isn't the course or the coin. It's relief. 30 seconds where the grind has an exit. And the real cost was never the money. It's what believing in the door makes you stop doing. The slow thing, the boring thing, the only road that was ever going anywhere. 11:40. You're on the stairs up to your flat, and Dana from the floor below is out there with the bins. It's cold. She's got a coat pulled over what are very obviously already pajamas, fighting with a lid that doesn't want to close. Dana's about 60, says maybe 9 words to you a year. You've lived above her for 4 years, and you know almost nothing about her, except that she leaves for work before you're awake. Tonight, she looks at your face and spends one of them. Long day? You say something vague about money being weird this month, the kind of answer you give when you'd like the conversation to be finished. She gets the lid down, shrugs, already turning. It's never the days you decide to spend. It's the days you don't. And that's it. No advice, no follow-up. She doesn't even wait to see whether it landed. Then she's inside, and you stand out there in the cold a while longer than you meant to. Because she just described your entire day. And she wasn't even trying. So you're back where we started. 11:47. Phone at half brightness. $70 you couldn't account for. Except now you can. Next Saturday looks almost identical from the outside. Same cafe, same shop, same bar. What changes is that you can see the machinery running while it runs. 3 things. None of them are willpower. 1. Put the friction back. Cash or one card holding only this week's spending money. Not to punish yourself, to make the loss land at the moment it actually happens. 2. Give the raise a job before it arrives. Money without an assigned destination gets absorbed. Move it on payday, automatically, before the trolley ever sees it. 3. Name it out loud in the moment. In the shop, at the bar, in front of the ad, 1 sentence. This is the status one. This is the tired one. Naming it doesn't kill the pull. It just puts you back in the room while it's happening. Because here's what this actually was. The traps were never expensive. They were invisible. That was the entire cost. You can't delete them. You can't uninstall the jars or the set point or the status alarm. But the moment you can see one running, it stops being automatic, and a decision you can see is a decision you get to make. $5.20 is still $5.20. The card still taps the same way. The difference is that now you feel the pen move. And if today was 5 for 5, if you recognized yourself in every single one, that isn't a verdict on you. Everyone in that cafe this morning was running the same 5. You're just the only one who went looking. Subscribe. We read one more line of the code every week.